SVG-TV News headlines sponsored in part by Flow.
Hey, let's admit it. Most of us only put on data for one thing. Or maybe it's like two things. I know for me it's simply about Instagram. But for you, maybe it's about Facebook, right? Sometimes you just need that extra data to take you through the next 24. Well, let me tell you about Flow 24. It saved my pocket and my social life. Just $2 and I simply chose a social media that's right for me. For you, maybe it's Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram. You decide and it's yours for the next 24. Hey, it's the perfect bolt-on to your combo plan. Flow 24. Save my pocket and my social life. Isn't it about time you switch to Flow? Just dial *129 *7# option 1 to activate Flow 24. Flow terms and conditions apply.
In headlines, Finance Minister says 2019 budget is a budget for the times and a people-centered plan for progress, while opposition leader says it is the same old budget which lacks substance. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister says CARICOM vote will be heard despite its omission from a high-level meeting of the International Contact Group on the Venezuelan crisis. Investigation launched into how U.S. arms end up in the wrong hands, including the Al-Qaeda in Yemen's civil war. And in sports, West Indies bowlers achieved 23-year high in the latest ICC Test rankings. These and other stories coming up in SVG-TV Evening News and Sports.
That was the news headline sponsored in part by Flow.
Hey, let's admit it. Most of us only put on data for one thing. Or maybe it's like two things. I know for me it's simply about Instagram. But for you, maybe it's about Facebook, right? Sometimes you just need that extra data to take you through the next 24. Well, let me tell you about Flow 24. It saved my pocket and my social life. Just $2 and I simply chose a social media that's right for me. For you, maybe it's Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram. You decide and it's yours for the next 24. Hey, it's the perfect bolt-on to your combo plan. Flow 24. Save my pocket and my social life. Isn't it about time you switch to Flow? Just dial *129 *7# option 1 to activate Flow 24. Flow terms and conditions apply.
SVG-TV local news segment sponsored in part by Haroon Bear. Hold your own.
Me shirt and me pants, Chaplin back high in a me anthem. Pan the black I put a bitch pan the sands. Trick me a trick me now have no time to think now. Hey, everybody good now. Pass me a cold one, make the vibe start flow. Say no more, yes I run for sure. I run and the ends place lock and secure yo.
Haroon, hold your own and drink responsibly.
Good evening and welcome to SVG TV News and Sports for Tuesday, February 5th, 2019. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Priority has been given to the environment and climate change in this year's budget. Also this year, several increases will be seen on items that are expected to generate revenue for the country. These were announced as part of the 2019 budget presentation in Parliament yesterday by Minister of Finance Camilla Gonsalves. We hear more in this report from Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Over $82 million have been allocated in the 2019 budget to deal with climate change, which poses a long-term threat to the country. During his presentation of the 2019 budget in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister of Finance Camilo Gonsalves said in addition to this, another $56 million have been allocated to deal with other environmental issues.
Climate change. This involves recovery and rehabilitation of damaged infrastructure, investing in resilience and adaptation, setting aside resources to prepare for natural disasters, adopting renewable energy and clean energy technologies, and strengthening our laws and practices related to environmental protection. The 2019 capital budget shows, if you look at the estimates, a total of over $56 million allocated to the functional classification environmental protection.
Gonsalves also noted that emphasis will also be placed on agriculture and education, which will see more skills training opportunities available to the youths. In addition, he said 5 private sector investments will continue this year, which includes the completion of the Clear Harbor Call Center, Buckermont Bay Resort reconstruction, and the Black Sand Bay Resort. This year also, the medicinal cannabis industry will come on stream, which is expected to yield a projected $5 million.
This year, we have taken account of the time required to establish and operationalize the authority, the steps involved in conducting due diligence of applicants, the licensing and the establishment of cultivation and production facilities that can meet the necessary legal and technical requirements, and the actual production and export of medicinal products. As such, 2019 revenues will be primarily derived from licensing fees, although we hope that sufficient traditional cultivators take advantage of the amnesty provisions of the cannabis legislation to generate some level of export revenue this year.
On the fiscal side of things, there will be an increase in tobacco, alcohol, and artificially sweetened or sugar-added beverages.
The excise will increase from $1.55 per 100 sticks to $2.75 per 100 sticks. Unmanufactured tobacco refuse, the rate will increase from 6% to 10%. Cigars, etc., the excise duty will increase from 14% to 20%. Other manufactured tobacco and tobacco substitutes from 6% to 10%, and other tobacco products from 12% to 18%. These measures are expected to yield additional revenue of $500,000. Or other sweetening matter or flavored, the rate will increase from 10% to 20%. Aerated beverages, excise will increase from 10% to 20%. These measures are expected to yield approximately $2.4 million in additional revenue. Alcoholic beverages. Undenatured ethyl alcohol with an alcoholic strength by volume of 80% or higher, the rate will increase by 10.7%. Brandy, whiskey, gin, vodka, and rum in bottles of strength not exceeding 46% by volume, excise will increase by 20%.
There will also be increase on fuel and adjustments to the aircraft landing and packing fees at the Argyle International Airport.
In an effort to meet these demands for more spending on roads, healthcare, and environmental protection, the government intends to increase the excise on gasoline and diesel as follows. Motor spirit gasoline, the current rate $2.50, the proposed rate $3. Gas oils other than diesel oil, the current rate $1.50, the proposed rate $2.10. It is important to note that this revised excise, and indeed the price of fuel at the pump in St. Vincent and the Grenadines generally, remains low relative to our neighbors in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States.
This year also, 8,000 street lights will be replaced with LED fixtures, which will be energy efficient at a cost of $3.1 million. Gonzalez said the discussion to ban sand mining will continue this year as the government seeks to safeguard its environment. This would mean that the sand would have to be imported, hence an automatic increase in construction costs. Meanwhile, Minister Gonzalez said public servants' increase this year will amount to $6.9 million, which includes pensions and NIS contributions.
20, with a salary 4.5% over their 2018 baseline. As a Labour government, we will continue to partner with Vincentian workers to enhance their working conditions, minimum wages, salaries, and tax obligations within the bounds of prudence and our own economic circumstances. This is a time-honored and oft-proven pledge on which the workers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines can justifiably rely. By the same token, we intend in 2019 to advance materially our discussions with unions on the unavoidable issues of pension reform, worker productivity, and performance-based enhancements or incentives. These discussions, once concluded and implemented, will further ensure the sustainability, quality, and output of our worker-centric policies and programs.
Reporting for SVG-TV News, I'm Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Meanwhile, in his contribution to the debate on the 2019 budget, Opposition leader Godwin Friday said the budget lacks substance on what is needed to generate economic growth for SVG. He told Parliament today that many of the work programs of the various ministries have been divided up and repackaged under the new heading Renewal at 40 to give them gloss, but they are what he described as old wine in new bottles. In his presentation of the budget yesterday, Minister of Finance Camilo Gonsalves said Renewal at 40 is a wide-ranging and multifaceted program of reflection and reinvention that ranges from the cultural to the infrastructural, which will spread across the various ministries. However, Dr. Friday said there is nothing new to be undertaken with this program.
Renewal 40 is a referral to independence, and everybody, you know, want to be patriotic and celebrate independence, so to embrace anything that suggests that we're doing something to celebrate our independence. That, I suppose, was part of the plan. All of these grand-sounding things in $1 billion budget, but when all is said and done, Mr. Speaker, we have, with all the projects, all the initiatives and the grand-sounding words and hype, we had for 2018 an estimated growth rate of 2.5%. Then at page 8 of the estimates, we see that the IMF has a projection of 2.3% growth for 2019, while the World Bank, a venerable institution, says that the growth rate would be a more modest 1.6% for 2019.
The opposition leader said given the low economic growth projected for SVG in 2019, Vincentians should expect nothing new or different, noting that something must be done differently to jumpstart the economy.
The point, Mr. Speaker, this budget, you know, for all its gloss and for all the attempt by the new minister to differentiate himself from the previous Minister of Finance, the substance remains the same. There is something of the heft that is lacking in it. It lacks substance. What it needs to generate growth. As they say in Corinthians, a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. No love in the budget, Mr. Speaker. No love at all, because the people, the young people whom the minister proclaimed to love so much, they are still confronted with the same old budget. Same old predictions of growth.
Dr. Friday further pointed out that the last time there was a $1 billion budget was during the election year of 2015, and that he was not surprised with the number of plans outlined in this year's budget to be rolled out by the government. The opposition leader said he is almost certain many of them will not be implemented.
Because as we have noted again, whereas last year the deficit, the overall deficit, which is filled in with the category of financing called other receipts or the capital receipts, whereas last year that was $160.1 million. This year it has ballooned up to $198 $9.1 million. So in short, that is the area where the government doesn't really know where the money is coming from, and in fact knows that the money isn't coming. The minister has said that there is some funding to be had from the World Bank for budget support, and that will be put in that category. But that would be a record-breaking year for earnings of other receipts, because most years it's $3 or $4 or even less million that are collected. And so what results from that, and it's important that I say it again here because it contextualizes a lot of what I say later on. What follows from that, Mr. Speaker, is that a lot of what is in the budget cannot be implemented, both on the capital side and on the recurrent side.
Lawyer Sholan Zita Banwell says the recent ruling by the Court of Appeal in favor of the SVG Teachers Union was a victory for all teachers and public servants. Banwell was speaking at a joint media conference hosted today by the SVG Teachers Union and the Public Service Union to sensitize the public on the ruling made by the OECS Court of Appeal on January 29th regarding the forced resignation of the 3 teachers and their rights relating to pensions. Those affected were Addison Bash Thomas, Kenroy Johnson, and Elvis Daniel, who were not rehired as teachers after the unsuccessfully contested 20 general elections on the NDP ticket. Highlighting the ruling of the Court of Appeal, Banwell, who was on the legal team of the SVG Teachers Union, said the court agreed that the 3 teachers had a legitimate expectation for leave to contest the general elections and to be reinstated if they were unsuccessful.
The High Court claimed or would have ruled and said that Article 16 seeks to amend the Constitution. The Court of Appeal disagreed. They said it does not do that. It also said that it cannot qualify a public servant to be elected as a representative. It is not within the purview or the purpose of Article 16. As I said before, the court simply said that it's only about leave. The other thing that I can move on to, so that dealt with 3 components: whether or not Article 16 offended or violated Section 21(6)(d), 2, whether the teachers had a legitimate expectation for leave. The court says yes, that there was a legitimate expectation for leave, and not only leave, but to be reinstated in their jobs having lost at the polls.
Banwell said the court's decision relating to pension for the 3 former teachers was another area where the legal team was able to secure a victory.
The other thing that we looked at was looking at the constitutional rights of the appellants, and that has to do with their loss of property, which is their pension. The court agreed that at paragraph 55, it says the critical issue arising in respect to the appellant's property rights violation argument concerned pension benefit. The appellants are entitled to their pension benefit in the absence of some lawful basis for deprivation. None has been advanced in this case. So there we are. Congratulations to the Teachers Union and the 3 teachers, and congratulations to St. Vincent de Grenada and his public service.
Banwell said the case indicated that the government was using the laws as both a shield and sword, and said it is time that the relevant laws are in place to allow for a wider cross-section of persons to run for political office.
It talks about it was open to the government to initiate the requisite steps for Parliament to prescribe exceptions and limitations to disqualification imposed by Section 26(1)(d). At paragraph 27, it says that the intendment of the forward-thinking Article 16 of the collective agreement is surely a step in the right direction. At paragraph 29, it talks about, it says that it boils down to the government initiating the requisite action to enable Parliament to prescribe necessary exceptions, limitation to achieve the beneficent gleaned from Article 16 of the collective agreement. And at paragraph 29 also, it says, the critical point is that without Parliament prescribing exception limitation to disqualification of public officers, disqualification to be elected imposed by 26(1)(d) of the Constitution would operate as a bar. No interpretation of Article 16 can change that position. I am only saying all of that to simply say that anyone who's accusing the union of not doing what it needs to do to ensure that the laws are changed simply says you can mobilize, but at the end of the day, it's Parliament who has to create the necessary legislation to ensure that all public servants can participate in general elections without loss of any benefit.
And two of the embattled former teachers, Kenroy Johnson and Alison Bash Thomas, expressed relief for the ruling of the Court of Appeal in their favor. Both, who have over 30 years of teaching experience, used the opportunity to highlight the challenges they faced over the years and thanked those who supported them through their struggles.
I never dreamt that my career, which I was very proud of, would end this way. That night, I still remember it, I cried for hours. And since then, I've been carrying much emotional pain. It has been very hard. This ruling has served to relieve me of much of that burden that I've been carrying. It is for this reason why I'd be eternally grateful to Mr. Robinson and the leadership of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Teachers Union, and to the legal team of Mr. Jomo Thomas, Ms. Sherlyn Banwell, hope I got that name right, and Mr. Ruggles Ferguson, for your belief that we were wronged.
I share similar experiences to Mr. Johnson. It wasn't hard. Sorry, it wasn't easy. It was real tough. And let me say up front, had it not been for Article 16 of that collective agreement, I would not have entered politics as a candidate for South Central Windward. Even though the community were calling for me to go forward, I would not have done that had it not been for Article 16 of the collective agreement. So the end has come. I believe this is the end. We have won. It is time to celebrate, and we must celebrate. And again, thanks to all those who supported me during that time.
Still to come, SVG said to be making headway with UNESCO's Convention on Higher Education. This and other stories when we return with more local news. Stay with us.
The local news sponsored in part by Flow.
Hey, let's admit it. Most of us only put on data for one thing. Or maybe it's like two things. I know for me it's simply about Instagram. But for you, maybe it's about Facebook, right? Sometimes you just need that extra data to take you through the next 24. Well, let me tell you about Flow 24. It saved my pocket and my social life. Just $2 and I simply chose a social media that's right for me. For you, maybe it's Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram. You decide and it's yours for the next 24. Hey, it's the perfect bolt-on to your combo plan. Flow 24. Save my pocket and my social life. Isn't it about time you switch to Flow? Just dial *129 *7# option 1 to activate Flow 24. Flow terms and conditions apply.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When dealing with the loss of a loved one, you may try to be strong, but it's really hard sometimes. But that's just when the experience of the staff at New Haven Funeral Home can demonstrate their compassion and help to guide your family through the difficult time. So in your time of loss, call the New Haven Funeral Home at 457-1830 or 458-1467 or email newhavenfuneralhome@gmail.com. New Haven Funeral Home, SVG's preferred funeral home.
Star Limited is now located on the 3rd floor of the first St. Vincent Bank building. They have extended their range of products to furniture, including patio sets, closets, shoe casing, beds and mattresses, TV cabinets, and kitchen cupboards, just to name a few of their luxurious pieces, all at unbelievable prices. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out upstairs, the First St. Vincent Bank building. Don't forget, they still have the best in windows, doors, burglar bars, rails, and vanities. C-Star Limited, where quality and style is our motto.
Imagine this, a world of peace, of comfort, and of constant security. A world in which protection is there without question when we need it most. Thanks to the 24/7 security halo offered by Guardsman Alarms for homes, businesses, and on the road, this is no longer a world we must imagine. This world is here. This world is now.
Your sofa sets, your mattress, your carpets, your office chairs, and car seats all hold body fluids, viruses, and bacteria that can be harmful to your health. At Howard's, we will steam clean your sofa sets, your mattress, your carpet, and your office chairs with heated dry steam that kills viruses and bacteria. Call Howard to steam clean your sofa, mattress, carpets, and chairs at 532-8855 or 451-2960. That's 532-8855 or 451-2960.
Why not stay in? Turn off your alarm clock and stay in on your perfect mattress for as long as you like. Only at Quartz. Get what you want now. With mattresses for as low as $239 and with Ready Finance, pay nothing until Easter 2019. So turn off that alarm and stay in as long as you like. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home.
Yeah， Baby， 我们之间的爱情编织出天涯，看时间并肩在一起，却不同的步伐，同样的心门一直不断来回的穿插，是不是爱在变差，渐渐风化？
Welcome back. We continue with the local news. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is set to be making headway with UNESCO's Convention on Higher Education. Among other things, the draft document recognizes is that education is increasingly seen by governments as a major contributor to national wealth and economic development. Last Thursday, a cross-section of the Vincentian community got an opportunity to examine UNESCO's draft Convention on Higher Education through a forum hosted by the Accreditation Unit in the Ministry of Education. Chief Education Officer Acting Elizabeth Walker said there is need for all Vincentians and non-nationals who seek recognition and accreditation to meet the requirements of UNESCO's Convention of Higher Learning. She said statistics show that the number of Vincentians seeking recognition and accreditation continue to increase.
In 2015, some 674 persons sought the verification service offered by the unit. However, by 2018, 2,130 had done so, whether for employment or higher education. The figures show that we too are slowly inching our way into the global higher education conversation. The brief for this conference informs, in part, that globally, academic mobility is sharply on the increase, with the overall population of mobile students doubling since 2002.
The draft Convention to Higher Education was first discussed among UNESCO's experts last December, with a follow-up meeting scheduled for next month. UNESCO's General Secretary Janelle Henry Rose told participants to put their words to action to ensure SVG fulfills its obligations.
Some of the questions that I asked myself as I perused the document: who is considered a refugee according to the document? To me, that's not clear. Is it anyone who flee their country no matter the reason, including fleeing from an abusive spouse, or someone who takes up residence in another country under police protection. When is it appropriate for us to use shall be versus may be in these documents, or in this particular document? There is one thing though that glares at me, that we need national system powered by policies, proper implementation with ample human and financial capacity to ensure compliance to this convention.
Winston Papa Eyston Lewis, a local musician and taxi driver who has been paying tribute to the late reggae icon Bob Marley over the past 29 years in commemoration of Marley's birthday, is now facing some problems using Bob Marley's songs because of copyright infringements. Lewis told SVG-TV News Today that he wanted to do a big tribute this year for Bob Marley's birthday, which is on the 6th of February. However, he is unable to do so because he's been asked to pay for a license in order to play or sing Bob Marley's songs.
This year. And I've been doing it all in Chicago, you know. I've sing alongside his sons, you know. I sing with the band, you know. They know what I do. They know why I'm doing it. And no one ever says to me, well, hey, you know, you need to have this, you need to have that, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. You know, whatever I was doing was welcome, and it was appreciative. So I want to know now why is the reason that in my country, people telling me I have to have a license to pay tribute to Bob Marley. And who are these people? These people have no connection with Bob Marley. Some of these people don't even know Bob Marley. You know what I mean? So what I have to say to you now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is that I'm sorry that usually I have to be saying these things, but it's because of the problem, the stumbling block in the way. And for that, you know, black people always have, you know, a problem. And
Lewis said the reason for his annual tribute to Marley is his way of keeping the reggae legend's legacy alive and also to engender in the younger generation a love for reggae music.
Reggae music is really a spiritual war. I mean, Bob didn't just write these songs just for the sake of writing them. These songs are historical. These songs are very much positive. These songs come to pass, you know what I mean? These are awards that would come to pass for the people in the future, which is happening already. So I would say to you, reggae is a spiritual war and it's fighting peacefully. Maybe you won't know that, maybe you won't see that, but reggae music and Rasta, because if you don't fight with Rasta, you're not going to win this war. You have to win the war with Rasta. Because if you don't win with Rasta, you would have to fight again. And once you have to fight again, you would still have to fight again, you know?
During our interview with Lewis today, he used the opportunity to sing two of his favorite Bob Marley songs with two of his children by his side. Here's a snippet.
Yo, whoa, whoa, a black man redemption. Whoa, yo, yeah, yeah. No need, and no need to get jumpy. And no need, and no need to get bumpy. Woo, woo. No need, to get jumpy. Yes. No need, to get clappy. And you to little bit.
That's the local news. Coming up, TNT's Prime Minister says CARICOM's voice will be heard despite its omission from a high-level meeting of the International Contact Group on the Venezuelan crisis. News from the region when we return. Don't go away.
Local news segment was sponsored in part by Haroon Bear. Hold your own.
When we line, handy hands, me and my friend them drink one thing. When we chill, handy hands, me and my friend them drink one thing. High road, hold your own. High road, handy hands. High road, hold your own. High road, handy hands.
Haroon, hold your own and drink responsibly.
The Ever-Ready Funeral Home at French's is your friend in times of grief. With over 40 years' experience, they are prepared to take care of all your funeral arrangements. Embalming, lowering device service, grave mattresses, carpeting, vaults, tombs, and wreaths. Arrangements for television obituaries. Cremation is available upon request. Ever-Ready Funeral Home offers the finest in caskets and coffins, local and imported. So, in your time of need, call Ever-Ready Funeral Home at any time. 456-1494. Ever-Ready Funeral Home, offering service above self.
Juicy, juicy, drink today. Juicy, juicy, same great taste. Juicy, juicy, the original drink. It's a Vinci Tang. Get your red and banana, pineapple, juicy cola, orange or apple. Juicy for you and for your neighbor. It's a Vinci Tang. Enjoy it juicy, the original Vinci Tang. Juicy.
Enter.
Santana Alia.
Speak.
It is your humble servant, Chef Abdallah.
Kifek.
Please tell me what to prepare for the people.
Chef Abdallah, whatever you prepare for the Sultan, prepare for my people.
The Sultan Restaurant, serving up the best in local cuisine. Your own custom roti station and pizza station. Delicious kebabs, chicken shawarma wraps, hamburgers designed just the way you like it. Vegetarian, no problem. We got you covered too. Just in case you love to eat, come and test our buffet. Available every single day. Hosting an event and need personalized catering? Let the Sultan come to you. The Sultan Restaurant. Eat like a sultan.
This elegant two-story, 6,600 square foot home is located in the upscale neighborhood of Kane Hall. The open floor plan boasts soaring ceilings, an attractive circular stairwell, and well-appointed formals. Comes fully furnished for your convenience. For additional information, we invite you to visit our website at svghomesandland.com or call our offices in Diamond, 784-456-2016.
LA Unique Upholstery. Quality at a low cost. We build to suit your needs. Contact us at Redemption Shops 457-0182 or Stony Grounds 453-2089.
The regional news segment sponsored by Massey Stores SVG Limited.
Massey Stores Pharmacy is the one for you. Is the one for you. We have competitive prices for your prescriptions too. We have 10% off for seniors, children under 3. We're here for your convenience. Prescription services. Leave your prescriptions while you shop. And our professional pharmacists will help you out. Massey Stores Pharmacy. Massey Stores Pharmacy. Where your health is your wealth.
Located at Massey Stores Kingstown. Contact us at 453-9112.
Welcome back. You're watching SVG-TV News. We go now to the news of the region. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is saying that the government's non-intervention approach on Venezuela has nothing to do with the Dragon gas deal between the two countries. In fact, he says it is insulting to suggest such a thing. And he says despite the trading relationship Trinidad and Tobago has with the U.S., his country will stand on principle when it comes to Venezuela. We hear more in this CNC3 news report.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says the Dragon gas deal is not a personal arrangement between him and Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. TNT and Venezuela are yet to sign off on a gas sales agreement that will allow natural gas to be sold from Venezuela's Dragon field to the NGC in TNT. Questions have arisen as to whether or not TNT's stance on Venezuela is because of that gas deal.
The Dragon deal is a piece of business. We have a heads of government agreement between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. You people in the media and some ne'er-do-wells in Trinidad and Tobago have been making this appear as though it's something personal between Maduro and me. And I think you all are insulting me as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and insulting your country.
The Dragon gas deal is expected to provide TNT with gas to meet some of the requirements for the Point Lisa's industrial estate, Atlantic LNG, and other downstream energy projects. Speaking at the energy conference hosted by the Energy Chamber, the Prime Minister said that gas production is on the rise and was 3.6 billion cubic feet in 2018 and is expected to increase to 3.9 billion cubic feet per day in 2019 once new production comes on stream. And by 2020 to 2023, it is expected to reach 4 billion cubic feet. Now, Dr. Rowley is dismissing the significance the gas deal with Venezuela could have on gas production.
The myopic, treacherous politics that is causing people in Trinidad to be forever talking about Dragon. The Dragon gas is 200 scuffs as compared to our 4 billion. It's not a major thing for us at this stage. It is, we don't have it, so you can't lose what you don't have.
As for what happens with the gas deal if self-proclaimed interim President Juan Guaido takes over, Dr. Rowley says it does not matter who is in charge of Venezuela's government.
This is a matter between the people of Venezuela and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The arrangements we have with Venezuela is not based on a regime, it's based on the country's existence.
When asked if the trading relationship between the United States and TNT could be at stake, after the U.S. ambassador indicated that TNT's non-interventionist approach was deeply concerning, the Prime Minister says this country will stand on principle.
It reminds me of the woman, right, with a man in her house and a daughter, and the daughter complains to her about the man's behavior, and she takes the position that if I stand up on principle with this child, the man might leave me. We in Trinidad and Tobago and in CARICOM, we don't subscribe to that.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Rowley is insisting that CARICOM's voice will be heard, despite its omission from the International Contact Group and their high-level meeting on the Venezuelan crisis in Uruguay this week. As we hear in this CNC3 News report, the talks in Uruguay will take place, but there have been some adjustments to the schedule.
We at CARICOM, we will not be ignored and we'll express our views. And our views are not fleeting, capricious actions. They are views that are rooted in our very existence as independent nations in the Caribbean. And we are not prepared to compromise those views, even for temporary gain.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley explains to the press the CARICOM meeting anticipated for Thursday in Montevideo, Uruguay, has been advanced to Wednesday with another meeting tentative for Thursday. That means the CARICOM community and Mexico, the two groups alongside Uruguay who expressed a call for dialogue, have been omitted from the International Contact Group and won't be joining the inaugural meeting co-hosted by Uruguay and the European Union scheduled for Thursday. The European Union has given itself a 90-day timetable to resolve the crisis in Venezuela with an aim to hold new elections under democratic conditions and not to mediate with the government of President Nicolas Maduro. But following President Maduro's disregard of the EU's deadline to call the presidential election, Spain, the United Kingdom, France and Germany wasted no time in recognizing self-declared President Juan Guaido's legitimacy. This move was swiftly commended by the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who issued a statement encouraging other countries to do the same. Our contacts at CARICOM tell us the aims of the ICG and CARICOM differ as the Caribbean community, alongside Mexico, Norway and Switzerland, are pursuing peaceful dialogue.
In Jamaica, there has been a shocking revelation about the dengue outbreak statistics. Reports are that up to 60% of children in the parish of St. Catherine has been affected by the dengue outbreak. The statistics were presented by the medical officer for St. Catherine, Dr. Francia Prosper Chen, at a recent stakeholders meeting. We hear more in this TVK news report.
A computer-generated sign depicting the plight of residents in Portmore, St. Catherine, dubbed by some as the mosquito capital of Jamaica. It's no wonder Portmore has the highest number of dengue-related cases for the parish.
Although the incidence is falling, it is still high. And in Portmore too, the percentage of children affected are even higher, and averages around maybe 60 to 70%.
Areas mainly affected: Waterford, Brayton Phase 7, Portsmouth, Greater Portmore, Gregory Park and Christian Penn. Dr. Francia Prosper Chen, the medical officer for health for St. Catherine, says the parish recorded more than 520 notifications of dengue in January.
This outbreak has disproportionately affected children. And if we look at the percentage affected, it is above 60%.
And so the health ministry is again urging residents to do everything possible to eliminate mosquito breeding sites.
The breeding sites are in our yards. I've been to places and I see the little paint tray breeding. I've seen people with tarpaulin on the ground with mosquito breeding. I have seen breeding with, sometimes we break the glass, the bottles for security. Aedes aegypti will breeding there. And so the take-home message I hope from this meeting is that it is an individual responsibility.
The mayor mentioned Chickpea and Seco. The second round coming up,
Medical entomologist in the health ministry, Shireen Huntley-Jones, says $800,000 has been allocated to each member of parliament to eradicate mosquito breeding sites.
I'm happy to announce that I was told by Minister today that all MPs have gotten close to $1 million to implement some control in their constituency, and all councillors will be getting $300,000 to $400,000 to also implement control measures in their different divisions and constituency.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
That's the news of the region. Coming up, investigation launched into how U.S. arms end up in wrong hands, including Al-Qaeda in Yemen's civil war. The international news is coming up next. Stay with us.
That was a regional news segment sponsored by Massey Stores, SVG Limited.
Massey Stores Pharmacy is the one for you. Is the one for you. We have competitive prices for your prescriptions too. We have 10% off for seniors, children under 3. We're here for your convenience. Prescription services. Leave your prescriptions while you shop. And our professional pharmacists will help you out. Massey Stores Pharmacy. Massey Stores Pharmacy. Where your health is your wealth.
Located at Massey Stores, Kingstown. Contact us at 453-9112.
It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. It doesn't matter how much you've heard it can't be done. It doesn't matter how long you've been waiting or asking. No matter what, we believe in smiling again and never giving up. Never give up. Vitamalt takes care of you.
26 retail shops and restaurants open now for your convenience. At the cruise ship terminal. At the cruise ship terminal. It's a great venue to run for functions. Secure parking, great and beyond. At the cruise ship terminal. At the
Cruise Ship Terminal.
Convenient parking at the Kingstown Cruise Ship Terminal and the Geese Compound. The Kingstown Cruise Ship Terminal has 26 retail shops and restaurants with a variety of food offerings. A great secure venue for your function with a great ambience. Also, we offer lock storage service. The Cruise Ship Terminal. Convenience for you.
At the Cruise Ship Terminal. The Cruise Ship Terminal.
Every child deserves a healthy breakfast before school. With just one bottle of Tusty water a day, you can help brighten a child's future. Your health is in your hands. Be healthy. Drink Tusty. The more you drink, the more we feed.
Trying to get fit for 2019? Then start your journey to fitness with Quartz. Buy any Marcy or Land Ranger gym equipment for $4.99 and over from now until March 31st and enter for your chance to win your purchase free. Shop now and pay nothing until Easter 2019. Your journey to fitness begins with Quartz. Visit us today for your gym equipment and enter to win. Quartz, bringing value home.
Yeah， Baby， 我们之间的爱情编织出天涯，看时间并肩在一起，却不同的步伐，同样的心门一直不得来回的穿插，是不是爱在变差，渐渐风华？
SVG-TV International News segment sponsored in part by Carez Distribution Limited.
Details never far away. I am you, and you are me. It don't matter where you from or who you be now. In the club or through the streets, put a Carib in your hand and say it's never too far away.
Real Caribbean beer.
Let's go further afield now. In 2018, 8 journalists were killed in war-torn Yemen, and 5 Western journalists have been able to report consistently from within the country. That challenge of access to a country facing famine, cholera, and bloodshed has led some to call it the Forgotten War. CNN senior international correspondent Nima El-Bashir just returned from 11 days inside Yemen, where her report focused on the arms trail that the U.S. is leaving behind in the country. Here is a bit from her exclusive report.
Shells of millions of dollars worth of abandoned American armored vehicles litter the road. Welcome to Yemen, where weaponry made in America is sold, stolen, and abandoned, and making its way into the wrong hands.
TV from Oshkosh Defense.
We're here to follow the trail of those weapons and the chaos they've left behind. Our journey starts at the Hodeidah front lines, where a ceasefire was recently signed. Climbing up a defensive berm for a better look, the Houthi position, we're told, is only around 200 to 300 meters away. There's movement there on the horizon. Did you hear that? Scotty, get down. There, another shot. That's coming from over there. They want to take us to the actual position. They want to show us the ceasefire violations. Okay, all right, Namshi, come on. So they're now firing on us. You can hear it. I can hear some more. I can hear a mortar that's incoming. It's getting heavier, and we're told we have to leave, even as we're driving away. Even now, you can hear that. It's getting much, much heavier. Yalla khalas? The influx of weaponry is prolonging the conflict. On our way back from the front line, we spot what we've come in search of. It's absolutely incredible. We're driving past, and it's like a graveyard of American military hardware. And this is not under the control of coalition forces. This is in the command of militias, which is expressly forbidden by the arms sales agreement with the U.S. On the outside of these mine-resistant armored vehicles, MRAPs, there are even stickers proudly proclaiming them as property of Alawiyat al-Amalqa, a militia allied to the coalition. We zero in on the serial numbers, tracing them back to US manufacturer Navistar, the largest provider of armored vehicles for the US Army. We're told to stop filming. But we're able to find another vehicle. This one even has the export sticker. From Beaumont, Texas to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. As we arrive back in town, we pass yet another militia-held MRAP. Everywhere we look, it seems, it's made in the USA. Yemen is split between warring factions, US-backed and Saudi-led in the country's south, Iranian-backed Houthi militias in the north. We can't cross the front lines to go north, but the MRAPs have. Captured by Iran's allies, the Houthis. To the backdrop of chants of death to America, this US MRAP was broadcast on a Houthi-backed channel with Mohammed Ali al-Houthi, the deputy leader, sitting behind the wheel. CNN was able to obtain the serial number from one of the Houthi-held MRAPs and verify that it was part of a $2.5 billion 2014 US sale to the UAE, a coalition partner. So why does it matter? Because these very MRAPs and others like them have already, we're told, fallen into the hands of Iranian intelligence.
British Prime Minister Theresa May said she wants changes to the controversial backstop, but suggested she is not seeking to remove it from her Brexit deal. The backstop is an insurance policy designed to avoid a hard border under all circumstances between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic after Brexit. In a speech in Belfast, the Prime Minister restated her unshakable commitment to avoiding a hard border after Brexit. Prime Minister May said the backstop's potential indefinite nature was the issue. However, Downing Street said the government was still considering alternatives. We hear more in the CNN report.
I know that the prospect of changing the backstop and reopening the withdrawal agreement creates real anxieties here in Northern Ireland and in Ireland, because it is here that the consequences of whatever is agreed will most be felt. I recognise too that the majority of voters in Northern Ireland voted to remain, and that many will feel that once again decisions taken in Westminster are having a profound and in many cases unwanted impact in Northern Ireland and Ireland. So I'm determined to work towards a solution that can command broader support from across the community in Northern Ireland.
Nick Robertson joins us now from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Nick, listening to these words, the DUP has called the backstop toxic. The EU says it's non-negotiable. So whatever the PM had to say today certainly had risks. And how was it taken where you are?
Well, she has a very difficult needle to thread, and she's going to find out how it was taken when she meets with the political parties tomorrow, principally among them the DUP. She tried to have something for everyone, but she made clear in terms for the DUP, at least, who've considered her weak in her negotiations with the EU so far. She said the original backstop that they offered wasn't acceptable to me, and I turned it down. She's trying to sort of rebut what they're saying about her and sort of dress up her own credentials, if you will. She's also talking about her view of what unionism should be and making very clear that it should be a tolerant one. And I think this is also a message for the DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party, who prop up her slender majority in government. But you know, the one thing that they're looking for her to do, and it's a one large thing, obviously, is get rid of the backstop. And here she gave an indication of how she's going to try and tackle that with the EU, that she was going to talk about having a time-limited backstop, which the EU has said is not something that they're open to doing. So she's tried to calm fears and tensions here, but we've really yet to hear precisely how that's going to wash, perhaps not so as well as she hopes, and what really she's going to be able to say to the EU to get them to change their minds.
That's the news. Sports is just ahead, but before that, we take a look at the local weather report.
SVG-TV International News segment was sponsored in part by Carez Distribution Limited.
Details never far away.
weather report sponsored in part by General Hardware, Budgemart Limited.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentians for years with their high prices. They came General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices. Then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
Bebin, the diaper made with the very best for the very best. Keeps up with them on the go. With a wetness indicator, Bebin keeps your child dry and happy. For quality and affordability, choose Bebin every time.
Bebin Premium.
We take a look now at the local weather conditions. Current conditions, partly cloudy, winds east-southeast at 13 kilometers per hour. Temperature 26.1 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity 79%. The barometric pressure 1013.7 millibars. 24-hour rainfall nil. Today's maximum temperature 30.5 degrees Celsius. Today's minimum temperature 24.9 degrees Celsius. Sunset today at 6:07 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. The forecast, fair to partly cloudy with a few brief scattered showers. And the synopsis, the Atlantic high pressure system will be the dominant feature.
The weather report was sponsored in part by General Hardware, Budgemart Limited.
Bebin, the diaper made with the very best for the very best. Keeps up with them on the go. With a wetness indicator, Bebin keeps your child dry and happy. For quality and affordability, choose Bebin every time.
SVG-TV Sports, sponsored by Remax Results Realty.
Remax Results Realty proudly presents Eagles Lodge, an attractive triple apartment residence. Each floor boasts a large kitchen, spacious bedrooms with en-suites, open living areas, and private entrances and balconies. This 23,000 square foot treat property is fully fenced with a private gated entrance. For additional information, we invite you to visit our website at svghomesandland.com or call our offices in Diamond, 784-456-2016.
You're watching SVG-TV News and Sports. We go now to the sports. West Indies captain Jason Holder and fellow fast bowler Kemar Roach have made significant strides in the latest ICC Test rankings released today. Holder, who last week became the top-ranked all-rounder in the world, jumped 4 spots in the bowlers' rankings this time around and now lies on a career-best 6th place. The 27-year-old has also now reached 778 rating points, which marks the highest by a West Indies bowler since legendary speedster Courtney Walsh retired 18 years ago. Holder followed up his unbeaten double century in the first test in Bridgetown with an outstanding performance with the ball in the second innings of the second test in Antigua last weekend, which the Windies won emphatically by 10 wickets. It was his spell after lunch that broke the backbone of the England batting and helped send them crashing for 132 all-out in their second innings at the Vivian Richards Cricket Ground. He finished with 4 wickets, while Roach, who skated through the middle and lower order, also claimed 4 to end with an 8-wicket match haul. That performance saw Roach leap 8 spots in the rankings to 12th, just behind new ball partner Shannon Gabriel, who rose 1 spot to 11th. The trio's presence in the top 12 marks the first time in 23 years that 3 Caribbean bowlers have been ranked so highly on the ICC charts. One of the pillars of the future of football in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the National Under-13 tournament, kicked off on Saturday at the Victoria Park. Forming part of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Football Federation SVG-FF National Club Championships, The National Under-13 tournament has attracted a total of 25 teams as they seek for the honor to be crowned the winners. The registered teams have been placed in 4 zones, mainly by geographic distribution. Teams emerging from the North Windward and North Central Windward areas, namely SV United, Owe United, Desco, Sparta, Bronxtown, joined Pride and Joy from Richland Park in comprising Zone A. Meanwhile, teams from Kingstown and its suburbs are lodged in Zones B and C. Comprising Zone B are System 3, Tony Stowe's Jugglers, Richmond Hill, Awesome, Glenside Ball Blazers, and Sion Hill. While in Zone C are Avenues United, Lago Heights Volcanoes, K&R Strikers, Sharps, Camdonia Chelsea, and RSVG Police. And most of the teams which originate from the leeward side of the mainland have been placed in Zone D. That zone has North Leeward, Predators, Leyu, Hillview, Husesco, Titans, Jebel, and Parkside Rollers. Matches in the tournament would be of 40 minutes duration and would be played across various venues on the mainland. Zephyr Bailey completed last Sunday's 65-mile road race of the SVG Cycling Union in a time of 3 hours, 19 minutes, 36 seconds, chalking up his second win for the year. Second place was taken by Sherwin James, who finished in 3 hours, 50 minutes, 53.2 seconds. Coming in third place was Carlos Rivas of Venezuela in 4 hours, 10 minutes, 53.2 seconds. The 65-mile event started at 2 p.m. outside the Rubis gas station in Kingstown. Riders pedaled their way to Langley Park, turned around at the Arnisville roundabout, then made 2 circuits between the roundabout and Diamond before finishing on Sion Hill. 6 riders competed in Sunday's race. The other 3 failed to finish. The next local race on the cycling calendar is another 65-mile event over the same route on March 3rd. The evening sports will continue in a moment. Stay with us.
When we line, handy hands, me and my friend them drink one thing. When we chill, handy hands, me and my friend them drink one thing. High road, hold your own. High road, handy hands. High road, hold your own. High road, handy hands.
Hyroon, hold your own and drink responsibly.
A funeral is considered as a last goodbye. The memories are for you, the family and loved ones. Joseph the Silva Senior Memorial Funeral Home sympathizes and understands the grieving process. They go the extra mile, offering counseling, private funeral, chapel service, night viewing and church service, along with other services expected at a professional funeral home. Visit the office at Mesopotamia. A warm, modern, and customer-friendly environment awaits you. Joseph the Silva Senior Memorial Funeral Home, offering affordability in time of need. We are here. We care.
Play for and win even more. Mashing the lottery says more cash in store. 4 numbers from 0 to 9. Win $5 grand with $1 in line. Makes 4 and back it up 2. There'll be lots of cash waiting for you. Choose for Monday to Saturday. Go get your tickets, it's so easy to play. When you play for, you'll win even more.
Why not stay in? Turn off your alarm clock and stay in on your perfect mattress for as long as you like. Only at Quartz. Get what you want now. With mattresses for as low as $239 and with Ready Finance, pay nothing until Easter 2019. So turn off that alarm and stay in as long as you like. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home.
Welcome back. We continue with sports. Reeves House and Moffett House retained their titles in the Kingston Cooperative Credit Union St. Vincent Grammar School and Girls High School annual 6-leg road relays earlier today. In the grammar school race, Reeves House won in the time of 51 minutes, 37 seconds, followed by Lopi House in 52.05 seconds, Crick 53.25, and Miller House 61.57. Muffet House won the girls' high school race in 45.05 minutes, to be followed by Headmistress House 46.16, Grimble House 47 minutes, and Staff House in 49.9. Today's road relay started at the St. Vincent Grammar School, where the runners turned left at the National Lotteries Authority tennis court, then onto the main road leading out of Kingstown, made a right turn at the Sandhill intersection, through Cane Garden and Long Wall, made a right at Squaredale Shippers, another right at the Old Juicy Building, turned left at the Ministry of Agriculture, and finished at the Grammar School. Both schools will hold their athletics championships next week at the Victoria Park. Richard Hoyt and Gabrielle Ben reigned supreme as the male and female individuals tennis champions respectively, as they overpowered their opponents in the rescheduled finals of the 2019 SVG Community College Individuals Tennis Competition. Gabrielle Ben had the better of her sister Amalia Ben with a dominant 6-3, 6-3 win in the female finals. The male finals was, however, another epic battle between arch-rivals Richard Hoyt and Arnold Horn. Horn took a commanding 4-2 lead in the first set before Hoyt turned the match on its head to win the next 4 consecutive games and win the first set 6-4. The second set was as competitive as the first, with Hoyt holding on to one invaluable break of service that gave him the second set 6-4 to cup the male title for the second consecutive year. Alexi Humphrey and Keyshawn Butcher placed third in their respective categories, winning their third place matches by default. The French Veranda SVG Community College cricket team went under to the combined youths cricket team by 6 runs in their second game of the 2019 National 50 Over Sunday League in what was one of the most scintillating cricket matches in recent times in the national competition. The combined youths cricket team withstood some impressive bowling from the college youngsters in the first 16 overs to amass 304 for 3 in their allotted 42 overs. Facing the daunting task of a target over 300 runs, the French Veranda were reduced to 32 for 2 before 2 excellent century partnerships, 137 for the 4th wicket and 111 for the 6th wicket, set up a tantalizing finish in the dark of an after 6 p.m. evening lighting. And that's how we end the sports this evening. We'll be right back to wrap things up. Stay with us.
SVG-TV Sports was sponsored by Remax Results Realty.
This classic architecturally designed home was built with general living in mind. 5,536 square feet of interesting living space, all located on an 18,201 square foot waterfront lot in the premier community of Cane Garden. For additional information, we invite you to visit our website at svghomesandland.com or call our offices in Diamond, 784-456-2016.
My sister's pharmacy is the one for you. Is the one for you. We have competitive prices for your prescriptions too. We have 10% off for seniors, children under 3. We're here for your convenience. Prescription services. Leave your prescriptions while you shop. And our professional pharmacists will help you out. Massey Stores Pharmacy, Massey Stores Pharmacy, where your health is your wealth.
Located at Massey Stores Kingstown. Contact us at 453-9112.
A new name in pharmaceuticals has come to SVG, and that name is Q-Care. Q-Care Pharmacy, where the Q stands for quality. Q-Care Pharmaceuticals is located uptown Kingstown on Halifax Street in the Gecko Building, right opposite the General Post Office. Q-Care opens Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturdays until 1:30 p.m. We fill your prescriptions promptly. We invite you to come in and experience the new standard in pharmaceuticals. Q-Care, where the Q always stands for quality.
You've been watching SVG-TV News and Sports. Before we leave you, we take a second look at the headlines. Finance Minister says 2019 budget is a budget for the times and a people-centered plan for progress, while opposition leader says it's the same old budget which lacks substance. TNT Prime Minister says CARICOM's voice will be heard despite its omission from a high-level meeting of the International Contact Group on the Venezuelan crisis. The investigation launched into how U.S. arms end up in wrong hands, including Al-Qaeda in Yemen's civil war. And in sports, West Indies bowlers achieved 23-year high in latest ICC test rankings. On behalf of all of us here at SVG-TV, thanks for viewing. I am Jennifer Richardson, reminding you to visit our Facebook page for a recap of the news and daily headlines. Also tune in to SVG-TV's News in 15 weekdays at 12:45 p.m. Good night.
Listen, the big hardware stores have been ripping off Vincentions for years with their high prices. They came General Hardware with the lowest prices ever in SVG. Now, the big guys are scrambling to drop their prices, but they still can't beat the General. So don't let them fool you. General Hardware still has the best prices on lumber, plywood, and steel. And even with a sale, the General beats that too. So go on, compare prices. Then come to General Hardware and save dollars every day. Because nobody beats the General. Nobody. General Hardware Supplies, located next to Yvette's Pork City in Arnesville. Call 453-9000.
Enter.
Sultana Alia.
Speak.
It is your humble servant, Chef Abdallah.
Kifek.
Please tell me what to prepare for the people.
Chef Abdallah, whatever you prepare for the Sultan, prepare for my people.
The Sultan Restaurant, serving up the best in local cuisine. Your own custom roti station and pizza station. Delicious kebabs, chicken shawarma wraps, hamburgers designed just the way you like it. Vegetarian, no problem. We got you covered too. Just in case you love to eat, come and test our buffet. Available every single day. Hosting an event and need personalized catering? Let the Sultan come to you. The Sultan Restaurant. Eat like a sultan.
Trying to get fit for 2019? Then start your journey to fitness with Quartz. Buy any Marcy or Land Ranger gym equipment for $4.99 and over from now until March 31st and enter for your chance to win your purchase free. Shop now and pay nothing until Easter 2019. Your journey to fitness begins with Quartz. Visit us today for your gym equipment and enter to win.
Let's admit it, most of us only put on data for one thing, or maybe it's like two things. I know for me it's simply about Instagram, but for you maybe it's about Facebook, right? Sometimes you just need that extra data to take you through the next 24. Well, let me tell you about Flow 24. It saved my pocket and my social life. Just $2 and I simply chose a social media that's right for me. For you, maybe it's Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram. You decide and it's yours for the next 24. Hey, it's the perfect bolt-on to your combo plan. Flow 24. Save my pocket and my social life. Isn't it about time you switch to Flow? Just dial *129*7# option 1 to activate Flow 24. Flow terms and conditions apply.